Here are 8 causes of unhappiness extracted from Bertrand Russell's book, The Conquest of Happiness. Reason 1. Excessive self-critique. We often find ourselves worrying and overthinking about our sins, follies, and shortcomings. There are various reasons behind this self-absorption. In our youth, elders teach us impractical ethical codes. Religions may impose certain strict rituals, and interpreters of religion might add their own interpretations, making the original teachings even more restrictive. Additionally, the self-help industry encourages us to improve ourselves constantly, and numerous influences inspire competition and insecurity in us, which damages our self-esteem. As a result, we begin to think about our personal deficiencies. This leads to self-criticism, worry, and unhappiness. So the solution is to become indifferent towards ourselves, to accept that it is fine to be imperfect, to be unproductive, and to not have a higher income than others. At the same time, rather than obsessing over our defects, we must spend time on things outside ourselves, such as this world, this universe, its knowledge, and the people who lived in it. However, this does not mean that we should stop making an effort to improve ourselves, but it should be done without excessive self-critique and worry. Reason 2. The glorification of Byronic unhappiness. The term Byronic originates from the name of the 19th century English romantic poet George Gordon Byron. Byron's works such as Childe Harold's Pilgrimage and Manfred feature characters commonly referred to as Byronic heroes. One of the chief characteristics of Byronic heroes is that they take pride in being unhappy all the time. They prefer to stay alone. They have dark, mysterious personalities. They have complex emotions and a cunning intellect, and they are charismatic and charming. The problem is that such characters are idealized in society. People who read them imitate them, and they accept unhappiness as something glorious. As a result, they remain unhappy. Reason 3. Competition. To us, life is a contest, a competition, a struggle to outshine others. People do not struggle for survival, they struggle for success, and they struggle to defeat others in this competition. No matter how much success or wealth they achieve in life, people are never satisfied. They always find a new competition. There are many people who already have a good income, and if they choose, they can live on what they have, but instead, they choose to work long hours. They wake up, go to work, struggle for success, come home late, tired and exhausted, and go to sleep. They spend their entire lives in this struggle. But what do they get? Money? Yes, but leisure? Not so much. As a result, they remain unsatisfied and unhappy. Reason 4. Avoidance of boredom. What do I mean by boredom? I mean stillness, concentration, focus, and lack of excitement. You all know what I mean by boredom when you set aside your phone, turn off the internet, and start reading a classic work like Capital by Karl Marx, or Histories by Herodotus, or Muqaddimah by Ibn Khaldun. I can say with utmost confidence that most of you will begin checking your phones after half an hour. Or for another example, go out with your friends or family to a fancy restaurant without taking the picture of your food. This tells us that we want things happening all the time. We want new reels, new political gossip, new internet memes, due to which our attention span has been reduced to a null. Therefore, a slight moment of boredom makes us feel empty and unhappy. Reason 5. Fatigue. There are many forms of fatigue. First, there is physical fatigue, which is fine. It leads to a sound sleep and a good appetite. It also allows to fully enjoy our moments of rest, but too much physical fatigue is unpleasant. It is torture. Second, there is nervous fatigue, like worrying too much about things that do not even matter. French philosopher Montaigne once said, "My life has been filled with terrible misfortune, most of which never happened." Of course, we all experience some events in life that deserve attention, but a wise person should try to worry only if and when required. Rather than worrying, they try to find the best possible solution and stick to it. The third form of fatigue is fear. Fear of failing an exam, going broke, losing a job, or dying. The solution to that, as suggested by Bertrand Russell, is to ask yourself, what is the worst that could happen? Reason 6. Envy. An envious person is the one who, rather than deriving pleasure from what they have, they derive pleasure from what others have. And envy is primarily a result of comparison. An envious person is never content, never peaceful, never happy, never satisfied. There are many solutions to deal with this. First is to replace envy with admiration. Admire those who are better than you and try to learn from their good qualities. Second, be content. There will always be a person in this world more wealthy, more intelligent, more beautiful than you are. Third, have a good opinion of yourself. Unnecessary modesty is not very healthy. Consider a peacock. Every peacock thinks it has the finest plumage in the world. Consequently, they are the peaceful birds. Reason 7. Persecution mania. It is the perception that the whole world is against us and all people are trying to bring us down. Let's say you write a book or produce a film or perform a play or launch a product in the market and you do not receive any appreciation from your audience. How would you explain this? You'll probably suppose that the people who saw your work have come together to hate you and undermine you. You'll take it personally, and this would happen if you overestimate your own merits. Instead of blaming others, consider the possibility that your work is bad. If it does seem bad, try to improve it and re-evaluate your strategy. It is also possible that your work is an unrecognized masterpiece and that the ordinary masses are not even qualified to judge it. In this case, if you are motivated by a genuine need to express your ideas, you will persist. Therefore, to think that others are engaged in a conspiracy to prevent the recognition of your merit is a grave cause of unhappiness. Reason 8. Fear of public opinion. The fear of what others would think about us, our beliefs, and our opinions, especially in conservative societies, is torturing. The continuous task of hiding ourselves and maintaining our mental independence against a hostile and intolerant society is a serious cause of unhappiness. The solution, as suggested by Russell, is to be indifferent to public opinion. When you do so, they begin to doubt their own power and let you be alone. Now, I do not think I was able to do justice with the ideas expressed by Russell in the book. I've just mentioned the key ideas, so do take out time to read it in detail. You'll enjoy it. So, what do you think about these causes of unhappiness? Let me know in the comments and share it with your unhappy friends and acquaintances.